Hey everybody, this is Monkeypuzzle and welcome to episode number 80 of Monkeywrenching the Beast. Just set up another quarry. I've probably set probably more than half a dozen since I left you last time in our Mistcraft New Age. This one is actually going right now. You can't tell because it's emptying out some space back there right now. But in the little intro scene, I just did a quick little montage of setting this up. It's my method lately. This world is very high. It's almost up to cloud level. And looking at the cross sections of the quarries I did, I found that copper starts at about level 74, the level we're standing on. So I've been coming down to skip a lot of the extra stone and gravel and dirt. We miss a little bit of coal and we miss some amber, but that's no big deal. There's plenty of it below here. And we go straight to the level where ores start happening, at least copper. So yeah, and it also leaves the upper landscape unscarred. So I just got my little method set up for this, and I can let this go. In a little while, resources will start coming out of it. I don't know if you can hear my real life chicken in my backyard, but it's making a lot of noise. Must be proud of itself. It laid an egg or something like that. Anyway, let's head back to the glacier warehouse. Oh yeah, and the last bit is after I set this up, I put a little wall of glass in right away, just knowing that this is gonna be dark in there and there's gonna be a whole bunch of mobs, which I can handle, but you know, a creeper could blow this stuff up or whatever. So yeah, just quick and dirty. One last step before I forget, all these spaces in the new age look the same, so I always make myself a linking book and put it in the glacier warehouse so I can get back here. Okay. So back here, we have a project we're going to work on today. And a lot of other people have started this project lately. I've seen a few people doing it on YouTube, but we had the idea independently. But with the fact that we're probably going to have to start a new world pretty soon, once a good, stable, Unleashed type pack for 1.6 comes out, I think that's what we're going to start with. Probably modify it ourselves, add some more mods to it even, maybe. But that's another discussion. This is even more symbolically relevant. So I'm not going to tell you quite yet what it is, but I'm going to get something smelting. I got the little crafting area set up here just past our resources. And let me see. Let me grab some coal coke I got set aside for this purpose. And I've got these alloy furnaces full of tin and copper. What could I possibly be doing? Well, obviously making a whole bunch of brass. And we'll see in a second what we're going to do with that. I guess it all fit into these. Okay. I didn't need the hoppers. Anyway, we'll get back to the episode in a second after all this is smelted. Just want to show you real quickly with all the quarrying that we've been doing, the resources have built up quite a bit. Again, the coal that we were running short of, we're now more than 324 stacks of, plus a little tiny overflow back here. Set this up a little bit better. In the world download that I included in the last episode, it has this. Basically, I put in these fabricators to automatically turn the ingots into blocks, because between quarrying, that was one of the chores, was always having to come in here, especially with the more copious things like iron, and turn them into blocks. So now it does it automatically, and I'll show you in a second, and I'll do that with the help of clearing out my inventory with this chest, which is the suck everything up chest. You can put all your extra items in here. A good number of them have places to go in this area, and the ones that don't end up in this everything overflow chest. So that's going along, and this is really fun over here. You can take a block. Let's get a bunch of ingots. So say there's a bunch of ingots. They just processed a bunch of ore, and it got smelted and gets sent into here. Or you have a bunch on you. You put them in here. the fabricators automatically pull them out of these and then turn them into blocks. So that's nice and nifty. No housekeeping there. We missed the little interface, the little animation on the fabricator. Let's see if we can catch that this time. There it is. I love that. It's one of my favorite things. Anyway, so we got plenty of resources here. 10 stacks of emeralds, 7 stacks of diamonds, all from the last quarrying, and lots of everything else too. So we will be back in a minute when we have a whole bunch of brass, and we'll move on with the plan for this episode. Okay, so the brass is all smelted. I had set this up so that I could take it out automatically. It only used 4 coal coke. And in the meantime, I went and recorded an episode of Inferno Mines, number 30, which was very, very difficult and scary. So I'm very happy to be back here where the stakes are a lot lower, although the stakes are a lot higher right here too. Anyway, that's a bad joke. So we made all this brass, 16 stacks of it, I believe. Yep. So you probably have a pretty good idea already if you're at all familiar with Feed the Beast of what we're doing, especially this version of Feed the Beast. Let me just put this back because I don't need it right now. We're going to make a bunch of frames, and we're going to use those frames to make a mothership. Originally, my idea for this was going to be, and Nilo's idea, was to make a ship that would explore the world, mostly for fun. I like that we got a bird up there. That's nice. On the Twilight Forest birds. Stick around, man. To send it out and to have it also be like a fun pirate ship for Nilo Rio. He's going to be on the next episode when we actually deck it out. But today, I want to make the engine for it and the basic means of propulsion. A lot of folks are doing this right now. But yeah, it was going to be a thing to just send out into the world and be able to teleport to it every once in a while and to see where it's at. But now I think it's going to be our ticket to our next world. We're going to get it all set up and use it to travel to wherever the next mod pack is going to be. So that's our way to get there. And we can spend the next few episodes getting it decked out, among other projects I want to do as well. We're definitely not leaving today, so starting this project ahead of time, and it's going to be a pretty big one too. We want it to be super cool. So the maximum frames that you can have and move at once is 1,000, and so we figured out that's going to take 15 stacks plus 40 of brass. So let me let me do something else first. I've got this set up to make the frames. I'm using fabricators because we're going to need so many of them. So in here, we're just turning logs to wood and planks. And here we're turning planks to sticks. And then the sticks are surrounding the brass and making the support frames. We're going to need 8,000 sticks. So this is going to be an easier way to do that. I got a bunch of logs here in my forester backpack, which I just crashed the world trying to get them all to move out at once. So I'll be back. Okay, got that ready to go. Got 15 stacks plus 40 of logs in here. Let's see if we turn all this on. Oops. It all works. And we have a bit extra of brass in here, but yep, we're making frames. So let this go and come back to you when they're all made. So actually, while that's working on it, there's some other stuff we need to make. I'm just gonna make sure I keep this clear so that it can keep working, but we need to make some frame motors, something else I've never made before. So here we go. That's not too bad. Hopefully we'll not have enough brass left over for that. Need to make that copper coils look like that. The iron bars and the fine copper wire. And the fine copper wire is where we're going to get down to making a new thing. So we're going to need a bunch of copper. and we're going to need to make a diamond draw plate. So these take durability, I know, when they make things, so we won't use them all up. So we need iron panel strips, not cover strips, but panel strips, and a diamond panel. Okay, we can do that. And then let me just go back, and the frame motor, each of these we're going to need, for every direction we're going to need, all of the 6 directions we need to go in, we're going to need 2 motors. So that means we're going to need 12 of these motors, so that we'll need 12 of these blue electric motors, and each of those takes 2 copper coils, so that's 24 copper coils, and each of those has that. So we're actually going to need to make 24 times 4, is that correct? We're going to need 96 fine copper wires. Okay, so I got some work cut out for me with that. I wonder if you can automate that. I guess I'll find out. But let me see. Let's go ahead and do the first part. We just need 9 of these. Actually, I've got some diamonds in here. Let's take over this one. So we need a diamond block and the good old handsaw. There it is. And so let's get a panel slab. Put those back. And somehow I made too many. I guess I wasn't paying attention. And panel. Okay. So let's put all that back. What do you do with an extra diamond slab? And what were the other ones? Were they iron? I think they were. So iron blocks we have. So let's get we need 4 panel strips. So this panels. Guess we have to get that many. And then we need the strips. Okay. So now we can go ahead and make, that's what I did. We can go ahead and make that. I have a feeling, let's leave these things in here, because I have a feeling we're going to need to make more if we're going to be making that many of them. But who knows how much they make. So get some copper, turn it back into ingots. And let's see what we're dealing with here for that. Oh, that's not so bad at all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make the 96 of those, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I'm taking you through all this crafting stuff because I've never made this stuff before, and I always try to do that the first time I do it. So we need 96 iron bars. So that's going to be a stack plus, what's 32? Okay, so that's enough iron bars, I think. And I left them in there, like I usually do with these project tables. Got these all set up with our, whatchamacallums, our fine copper wire. So hopefully this is set up to make 24 of those. That's right. They look like olives with a pimento in them, but they're a copper coil. Okay, and then the copper coils go right in there? No. What am I doing wrong? No, I'm skipping a step. That's got to turn into a motor. What did I do wrong? So the frame engine or frame motor. I need to get that. I skipped that step. Okay. So we can go ahead and retrofit this recipe to be that. There we go. So we got 12 of those, and then that recipe looks like the one I had set up before to finally get to the 12 frame engines, motors. There they are. Well, missing some. Okay, I gotta get some more resources, but I'll have that put together. Okay, got those in there. All right, so now we got all 12 of our frame motors. So that's cool. We're a few more things we're going to need, and we'll try to blaze through it real quick. First of which is the solar panels for these. Oops, the solar panels. Solar. So these are going to take the blue alloy ingot, combined with the blue dope wafer. And the blue dope wafer is the silicon wafer with the nickelite in the alloy furnace. And that's the boule all chopped up. So I've got some boules being made here. We're going to make a lot of solar panels. I'm not sure exactly how many. Let's take those. They'll come in handy for all kinds of other things anyway, and they're really not that expensive. Make a whole bunch of silicon wafers. Why not? Okay, I'll stop there. And then those need to be cooked with a bunch of this stuff. Let's grab a whole bunch of that, set them up here in our little temporary situation for doing this. I think it's one of those for 4 of those. Is that right? Yep. So then we just got to overload that with a bunch and do it again. A bunch more. And we're still making more brass up here because I had run out, so I'm just doing extra. So I'm going to get that together and let you know when we're ready to craft something. So I've been busily making up tons of Redpower stuff. It's a good way to celebrate saying goodbye to Redpower as well, if we're going to have to. Actually made a little bit of a dent in the nickelite. But I've been cooking up blue dope wafers and blue alloy ingots and all kinds of stuff. Got enough here to make 40 solar panels, which is way overkill, but that's what this is about. So there we go. We got our solar panels. Over here, we're going to make a bunch of battery boxes. I want to make 16 battery boxes. So we're going to have to need 64 of these. And they stack. So that's awesome. So I could have actually done that. Oh, I got some extra. All right, that's okay. No biggie. So let's put those toys away. And over here I don't have anything, so let's see what the rest of we need for the battery box. These guys. So, oops, I'm not in there. Hey, okay, let me get in. Okay, press that. Shift click maybe? No, that didn't work. So there it is. So we need some of those. We need some of these. And hopefully that's just iron. Is that iron or tin? You're iron. Okay, we need some kind of wood. So we got, so I lost it already. Okay, there it is. So we need iron. And let me grab some wood. Okay, there it is. Battery box. So if I did that right, that should make 16 of them. We're set with that. A few other things we're going to need for this adventure are we're going to need some more timers. So we're going to need, let's make at least 6 of them to start with. And we're going to need some of these newfangled Redpower repeaters, just because it takes fewer of them. So let me just rearrange this stuff. There it is. Repeaters. So we're going to need at least 6 of those too. So, okay, we'll make 8. And we're going to need some more blue alloy wire. Not a whole lot. The battery boxes are going to help with that. Might as well get at least a full stack going there while we're in here. And then over here, I'll set up to make some gold jacketed blue wire. So we've got 32 of those. And then over here, we're set up to make some iron jacketed wire. This is redstone wire basically that floats. We got 32 of those. So for the most part, I think we're pretty much ready to go do our thing. I'm going to get a little bit more organized, and then we'll start with building the mothership, or whatever we should call it. It's the ship. It's not the mothership because it's not where we came from, but it's the ship that's going to take us where we're going. So maybe you viewers can help suggest the name for it. But like I said, I'm going to get organized and we're going to get started. Okay, so I think I'm pretty organized. Hopefully we're going to make it close to here, so if I don't have anything, it won't be far to go. So we have 1,000 support frames in here. So this determines the maximum size of our ship, our explorer, our ship to the next world. So let's go ahead and start it over here. Someplace, I think hopefully there's enough space to do it. We can do it up in the air. Yeah, I need to charge up my jetpack pretty soon. I'll do that in a second. But let's use some scaffolds. And I believe I can do that. And then if I hit it, yep, with the next one, it'll go way up there. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'll start that. And then let me go charge my jetpack up before I get into this, and I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. Up the scaffold. So I practiced this a bit in creative because it's a pretty tricky thing to get these frame motors to actually do anything. But let's put down our first support frame, and frames themselves too are kind of finicky. Very finicky. So that's going to be our base for now. We'll end up going a little lower than that. Actually, no, let's go there, and we'll make that the base. And then I'm going to open this up a little bit. This is going to be the main engine floor. So I'm going to go ahead and fly, make this quicker. And let's go out from our center here. Let's go out, we'll start with at least 3. I think it will be enough to get us going. Okay, and then I fill that in for now. It's not going to be square. We'll just start with that to get us going. Alright, so our ship is being born. And it's funny, right when I was about to do this, Etho is making one, and Minecrafted is making one, and other folks too, but they weren't the first and certainly not the last. That's kind of one of the main things that come to mind with using these Redpower frames. Got interrupted there, but there's a lot of tutorials with people, designs for inchworm drives. And I decided I wanted to make my own. It's not as compact as many, but it worked. And there's definitely room for improvement. This won't be the end all right now, but it will suffice. So I think I did it 4 from there, going 4 up. And this can all be edited as we go. And then this needed to be like that. And then we're going to come at least 2 out this way with these. So let me get those put together. I'll be right back. Okay, so there's that. Now up here is where our power is going to come from, our solar panels. And yeah, we got that all connected. It's very important with frames that you have direct connections between everybody. Otherwise, one piece of your ship will fly off and be gone. So let me get back down here. I'm going to make a hole here, and there, and there. And that's where our battery boxes are going to go. And I'm using the battery boxes to connect the power directly to below, rather than having to wrap the blue wire around. What are these called? The blue alloy wire. And then solar panels are going to go all up here. The reason these have to stick up is I can put a solar panel directly on top of a bat box, but it needs to be connected to a frame itself. So these ones here basically hold the frames on. The solar panels on. Now, to put solar panels on the rest of this, anytime we want to put something on a frame that wants to stay attached, we use a panel. And for most of this, we're going to be pretty fancy with nice materials. We really want to skin this in a way that looks good. But for things where we're not going to see it after, might as well not waste the materials, because we will be quite lavish with our use of iron and gold and everything else on here. And I need more of those. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with more panels. And while we're here, let's go ahead and get the full effect and leave it floating in the air. I like scaffolds. Those are very cool. Eventually we may want a scaffold to be able to climb up here, but I might as well fly at this point. Oh, and we want to keep those. They're very expensive, and it's also very important for us to keep our numbers right at the 1,000. So I don't want to let any of those despawn, because we want to make sure we use the full 1,000 that we can. Okay, so let me finish putting our solar panels up here, and that will get our battery boxes charging. I found to get panels or covers to stick on these things, and I'll explain the difference in a second. As long as I get the cursor in that little square box in the middle, they go in. So panels that I just put on, they're for things you want to stick to it. Mainly other Redpower logic stuff is what tends to be appropriate, but anything except blocks. Blocks will stick just fine without a panel, seems like. But for the little accessories like this, so they're smaller than a block, you put those. Now covers are when you don't want anything to stick to it. Like if we're going to have this land, for instance, we'll want to put covers on the bottom. Otherwise, we'll pull up whatever soil or rock or whatever we land on. So anyway, theoretically, we've got those charging. There's already time for aesthetics up here if we wanted to. We could put panels or covers and stuff on these up there, but I'll get to that a little bit later. Let's just get the basics going right now. So I was using these battery boxes to bring the power down, using them for storage and for wires. They'll keep this thing running at night as well, as the advantage of this. So it's basically a really fat wire for us right now that's going to store our power. Okay, and then we're about to get to the tricky part, and hopefully I can remember what I did. I'm already seeing that I'm going to want to make this whole platform a little bit bigger, at least. So let's take it out. One more layer. Get that in a second. To make sure that I'm not going to be falling off while I talk to you. Not that I'd actually hurt myself, but we just don't want to waste any time here. Alright. I grab this guy. Got it. And so this is connected to this by that, and that will be fine as long as there's one block. So the motors now, first we're going to work on going in these four directions, in the X and the Z. And we need one to go positive and one to go negative. And each one of them takes a set of motors. So let me do one example here. To start with, I'm going to need some iron covers. And of course, I didn't grab those. I'll be right back. All right, back with that stuff. I got some covers. Now remember, covers are what things don't stick to. So I'm going to have motors, the frame motors, moving back and forth here. So I want to make sure that they're not going to stick to that central column. But the main point they are going to be getting a grip is right here. So let's go ahead and grab the first one of these and plop it down. And then with a screwdriver, this is the face. These are supposed to be little treads, I think. And this is the face that actually moves stuff. So we want that to be facing down. And I learned that it's opposite this flat part. So you shift right click to do that. And then we're going to want this little face gives us the information. It's not very well done, but there's an arrow on the tread side, but generally you can't see that arrow once you've put it in place against the tread side down here. But this tells me, this little fat part of this dial over here tells me it's going to be pushing this whole thing that way. And that's what we want. And we could confirm by looking under here, and you can kind of see that light green arrow. It's pointing that way. So it's going to shove the whole thing that way as well. And we're about to lose our daylight. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but maybe for the interest of you guys being able to see what I'm doing, let me just throw down a little bit of light real quick. And I think I can put torches on these. Can I? Yes, I can. Okay, so let's just keep the subject lit up here, because I don't want to run back down and sleep. Okay, so we got our first engine down. Now that's going to move this whole thing over, and then after it does that, we're going to need a second engine to put that one back into place. And that's basically an inchworm drive, and that's how this whole thing works. So we want to get it so the treads are on this face, and then move them over. Wait, no, I got to keep shift right clicking. There we go. We got them on that face. And I want it to shove the motor back that way. So I shift right click to change the whole orientation of where the treads are, and then I just right click to then fine tune the orientation from there. And that's how the screwdriver works on this. Okay, so that we're part way there. Neither one of these is getting power right now. Let me just double check how I did that. I think I remember, but I'm just going to double check real quick. Okie dokie. So I will not need this in the long run, but I'm going to put it there now. I'm going to put panels in these areas as opposed to covers. So remember, covers are slippery, panels are sticky. And got that in. So here we're going to put one piece of our blue alloy wire. So now this is charging up from these, and these have this nice little indicator on the outside that tells you how full these are. We've probably got way too many solar panels and definitely way too many batteries. This thing is never going to run out of power, and it will run night and day, overcast, any kind of weather. Now this guy needs power. It's going to be difficult at this point without building a whole frame structure basically to get stuff out here. So that's why I went ahead and made these. So that's going to get the power out here. Oops, got a shift click. Now the problem with that is that something needs to hold that. So we got to bring out a structure to hold it in place. So let's bring this out and that will keep that from moving. It has its support, and we need this here to connect that back there. Okay, so I think these are oriented right. I think they have the power they need. We need another slippery cover right here, because when this engine pushes this whole assembly that way and ends up back here, and we want to push it forward, it needs to not stick to the frame. It won't stick to regular blocks, of course, but the frames are sticky. So we're going to put a cover right there. Last step, and there's many ways to do this, is we're going to need to give it a redstone signal. A lot of folks end up doing this with ComputerCraft. Since I haven't messed with it on that level yet, I'm not going to use ComputerCraft yet. I'm just going to keep it somewhat manual, but still able to move itself. I need my diamond saw one more time, and once again, I'll be right back. So let's give these guys a signal with some red alloy wire. The reason I need my saw is I wanted to make, actually let's leave that in place. I want to make some cover strips, use those to separate that. So we got a signal to that and a signal to that. Mostly the signal is going to work to both of them, but that's just my little neat freaky thing. And there's a reason for it. You'll see in a minute. Over here we're going to put one of these repeaters. I got to look up exactly how many clicks equals what timing, but I found when I left 3 pixels right there, it worked perfectly. And then to keep them moving, to keep the signals coming, we're going to put a timer on. The timer is going to start running as soon as I put it down. So we're going to put down a lever first to make sure that there's a redstone signal so it stops. I found timers crash when you have anything in your hand, so let's do an empty hand. And the quickest I could get this is 4 seconds. So we're going to be able to move a block every 4 seconds. These things actually move the whole assembly quicker, but in the creative world where I was testing, there was enough lag in this circuit that it took that long for the whole thing to work. Now, I think we're all set here. I think when I turn this on, this whole thing is going to start moving. So let's just take the leap of faith and go for it. There's always a 4-second delay. It seems it has to go around once. And then see, this turned on, but there's a delay in it hitting that. And, oops, I'm falling off. Besides the fact that it didn't seem like it was working. These things are super finicky, so what is seeming to be the problem here? That one's turning, so that one's working. So this one is having a hard time moving this for some reason. The one thing I did different is put these torches on, and I'm falling off again. Back up. Let's take those off. I don't see how a torch, especially on a panel, would stop it from moving. We should be able to put stuff like that. Something I did wrong. Oh, I know it is. These are not all connected. That's the issue. Yeah, see, these ones are just hanging out in the air here. So what I was supposed to have done is get that off and put that on. There we go. Yep, and up. Now that's working. It's leaving some of them behind. So let's stop it for a second. But that's what was slowing it down on that side. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to reconfigure here. Now that that is touching over here, it'll actually get its power directly from that. So we don't actually need that anymore. And we can just put the frame there like it should have been. These guys, we're just going to have to sacrifice the power that we've got in them already. It's no big deal. It's all free power. But this whole thing is moved over 1 block right now. Why aren't you picking up? There we go. Are you not? Oh, they have different amounts of power right now, so they're not stackable. Let me see. The scaffold are the things I'm least worried about. Let's put those down. Get that out. We need some frames back. Oh, that's another battery. Okay. Get those frames down. Get the batteries on. Gotta grab that guy up. I guess I'm still full. There we go. That's the last one. And then fix that and put those on. So it's very important to make sure that everything is connected to a frame one way or another. And it's kind of the limitation of this whole thing, but it's also what makes it possible. So that fixed, I think we're good to go. Let's go on a little trip. And this is going to be moving us that way. So there's a delay. And there we go. We're moving. And every 4 seconds, it's going to move. And if there wasn't the little delay in this system, then we could move even faster. But the repeater is important to keep the signal on here. There's probably some way I could do a signal lengthener differently, and I'll look into that. We could probably halve the time it takes to move. But right now, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to put this here so as a frame of reference. Frame of reference, get it? And you can actually see that we're moving. We've left our little pad behind there. So the trip has already started, but it's a little too early yet. We're not quite ready. We got a lot of things to do first. So I'm just going to repeat this assembly 3 more times from here. And to get started, I'm going to start the engine right here. Now remember, I'm just going to go through it one more time, that each of these spots need covers. And this is just my own little design. There's definitely probably more efficient ways to do this. Most of them I saw were very compact, and I'm not really worried about compact. We're trying to make a big ship, and I don't need to pack all the motors together. I kind of want to be able to see separately what each of them are doing. And then once we've done that, each one of them, I'm going to put the motor down here now, and we got to shift click with the screwdriver to get the treads facing down. That will be not quite yet. It's hard to see with that battery box in the way. I think that's it. Yep. And then we want this facing that way. Yep. And then this one is going to be the block that moves it. So we're going to want the plane side facing us right here. So shift click, and then we've got to make sure that it's going the right direction. So we want this dial up on top facing that way. So that's it, and I'll do the whole setup one more time so you guys can see it. These are panels. So we got panel, that many, and we get the red alloy wire there. I put a little strip to separate it. Now the reason I do this is you can see that when well, you can't see it now because I have it down there, but when this motor goes away, this thing would reconfigure itself to point only here, and there'd be a slight delay when this comes out for this to change its shape to face it. So when you put this little strip down, it always stays pointing the way that it needs to hook up to the engine when it gets there. And then the repeater, and this is the part where I probably could make some improvements, but it's just a brute force way of making the thing work for now. Make sure you put the lever down before you put the timer. And this is just a way to keep a pulse coming so that the whole operation keeps going. Timer, make sure there's nothing in your hand. Oops, I forgot to turn it on. And then 4 seconds for now, until that gives us some room to improvement. And did I do it all right? If this works, we should go that way. So let's check it out. See if we get some motion. Not quite. It's supposed to be pushing that motor over there, and I need to figure out what I did wrong. To start with, I can see I've got it upside down. It's supposed to be faced that way. So let me turn this off. And we want this little panel on top. And yeah, is that going to work? It's hard to orient these things, and we want to flip it that way. There we go. Hopefully that will work. We'll see. There we go. And oh yeah, I didn't set the repeater right. That needs to be 3 pixels from that end. And that just keeps the signal on long enough for both engines to do their thing. So it signals that, which sends it over, and it's still going, and then sends that back. So it needs to be just long enough for that. And that's what I found worked so far. So we're in motion. Now we're going that way. I'm going to go do it 2 more times off camera, and then we'll do up and down. Okay, there it is. There is the core engine on the horizontal plane of our ship. So, got way too much power. This is our engines. We can now go in any direction. So, these basically point the direction it's going to go. So, you guys haven't seen it go this way yet. And it's a little funny when it does it too. So, we have a little 4-second delay before it starts up. And then get our power going. The flame actually gets left behind, and all the lighting has to update itself each time. So we go dark and then it gets bright. But it's moving, you know, and that leaving the flame behind is a good indicator that we are. So that works. And finally, going this direction will now work too. So at this point, I can leave it on and it would keep going, except at this rate, we'd hit the glacier and it would stop, and then we could put it in reverse after that, but we'd also at this point we would grab any snow blocks or ice we touched and take them with us. So but that's a success. We got this going. My own little design for it, for better or worse, but at least getting to invent something, that's the whole point for me. Like, I never know if it's going to be as good or not as somebody else. That's not really the point. The point is that just taking the time to play with these things and kind of figure out how they work and invent it. And it really helps when you look at other people's inventions then too, because then instead of just putting them together in the order of steps that they tell you, you know what each thing is and how it can be improved and so on. Last thing is to get this working in the we need to get it in the up and down plane as well on the Y. So we're going to break this block. Good. I just wanted to make sure that I caught it. And we're going to break this one right here as well. So let's grab that. Catch it. It's important to keep track of that 1,000. Because once it's all built, there's going to be no way of counting all this. So the reason I did that is we need to get power down below. So I'm going to just grab off of this one. And notice that these guys now, even though they're not directly connected to power over there, when they're stationed over here, they're getting power. And when they're stationed over here, they're getting power from this one. These all conduct the blue electricity to each other as long as they're touching. So that's how we're making all those connections. Now notice this doesn't have anything holding it right now. So we're going to need to do that and kind of fill in this space a little bit more so that those guys get held and they move with the ship. We don't want to leave our wires behind. And then same thing here. It's getting that power down below. And this one needs to be held as well. Okay, so now down below, let's check it out. I'm only going to need this much. I'm going to give myself a little bit more here temporarily, just so that I have something to stand on when I'm working, because you can't do all those shift clicks when you're flying. So this is temporary. Get rid of this in a little bit. But then this axis is what we're going to use to push things up and down. So this thing isn't really going to have a front and a back, but because you can't rotate it, so we don't want to build it so it only goes in one direction, even though we're probably going to head off that way, because that's one area that we haven't explored yet. But what I'm going to do is just treat it as an orientation that way for now. It won't matter too much. But so we want to put an engine here. We got to make sure that it's not going to stick to the top here. So we're going to put a cover right there. Might as well put one there too, because we're going to have the opposite thing going on the other side. Now I want this to make it go up. So if I put an engine here, and you can actually get the treads going the way you want if you orient the right way. So I guess I don't know how to do that still, but I need my screwdriver, which is going to die pretty soon. We want the treads to be over here. So let's just keep going till they're there. Good. Now when that goes, it's going to push this down. So we want the opposite. We want it to push up. So you can see the arrow pushing up. That's going to push this whole assembly up when this motor gets powered. Now this motor is then going to end up down here, and we want it to get pushed back up. So let's give a support for another one right here. Let's see if I can do it this time. Is it face towards me? Yes, it does. And so we want that to push that engine back up once it's down here. So we're also going to need this to be slippery. So this right here on the inside there is the only part where this engine is actually going to grip the thing. And it's going to push it up. And then this is going to push that engine back up. So we need to get power and a signal to each of these. So we got our power here coming down. That's going to need something to hold it in a second. And then we're going to bring it into here. So I think that will work fine. I'm falling off. I forget exactly how we oriented this before, but it doesn't have to be exact. It's all subject to being reinvented. So these two need something to grip, and this one needs something to grip. So let's put those there, and then this is all going to get closed in later. So theoretically, both engines have power, and even when this one moves down, well, it won't need it down here because it's going to be being pushed back up anyway. And then we need to get redstone signal to both of these. So that's why we had this iron jacketed wire. So we could float that out here. So we only want it to go, and actually I realized that this is going to be in my way here. So let me get that back. And see if I can stop using my engine so much on my gravity suit. We don't want a redstone signal right here because we don't want this to get activated there. We only want it to get activated here and this one over there. Okay, so these all then need to get held on. So that's the bare minimum we need for those. I think we're all good with everything being supported, and now we just need to make this a way to get a signal to these guys here. So I'm going to use panels, which I'm going to need more of. Let's just grab, we're not going to need most of these I think at this point, so let's make some more covers, and then I may improve this as I go too, but let's take it out to there. And then we can grab this. We got our red alloy wire coming out of there now. And this would have worked fine for this guy. I probably could have actually used one less of these. Like that. And then, but it doesn't really matter. Going like that. Like that. Okay. Although that is going to be reforming itself every time it comes back up there. So let's just, I'm just going to leave it like I had it. Like that. And then like that. And then back here, we fly again. We got our same old thing with the repeater and the timer. So the repeater is going to go there. Set 3 pixels. Leave 3 red pixels right there. Like that. And the timer, which we're going to want to make sure it's getting a signal. That's not going to let it turn on right away. So let's just take this whole assembly out a little bit. We'll put our up and down levers right here for now. Still using panels because we want things to stick. And now when we get a lever down, so right here. No, I didn't want you. I wanted you. Actually, I think I need to come one more out with the and I may be able to do this with redstone tubes in the support frames. There actually is a thing like that, but I'll just do it super simple for now, even though this is like way more advanced than we ever get in vanilla. Take it to there with like that, turn it on, and now we can get that timer back out and place it right there. Oh, I actually messed up there. Turn it off. Okay, and get an empty hand and turn the timer to 4. Actually, this one might have to be 5. We'll see. I'll take it down if I can. And one of these days, I'm going to stop falling off the side. I guess once we have a bigger ship. Okay. So, got the repeater set, got that set. Nothing to it but to try it now. Let's see what happens. Alright, well that thing went down. Oh, here we go. Hey, hey! It's working. We're gaining altitude. It's every 5 seconds, so it's a little slow, but it's moving. And we can always kind of get things more efficient later to make it happen faster. But now we can go up. And the last thing is to go down, and we're done with this episode. And next time, we'll be decorating, because we'll have a functional moving core that then provides the base point to build the rest of the ship, and we can use up all the rest of our support frames doing it and decide what kind of style and look we want to have. I really don't mind that this isn't that compact, actually, because I think this provides a nice shape to build off of anyway. I would have just had a little box about this size in the compact version and still needed to build off of it anyway. And I think for doing repairs on this long voyage, this will make things a lot easier. It's like one of those old cars where you can actually get into the engine and see everything rather than like have to take the engine out to change a part. All right, so that's good. I'm gonna put in the going down now, and it's basically the same thing but a little different, just with the orientation. We gotta start with the motor down here rather than up here, because what it wants to do is pull this down. So let's put this there, get the screwdriver, get the flat face facing this way, and then it's pulling it down, which is already, the arrow's already oriented right. So when it's powered, it's going to grab this, take it down. Now we want this to be slippery in this case, because the engine, the motor over here, is going to grab it and push it back down. And believe it or not, we got it right the first try. So that's excellent. I'm going to turn the rest of these covers into panels now, because that's what I'm going to need them to be. Let's make sure that this comes out far enough over here to do the same thing we did over there. So we need that panel, come back to me. We may have just enough. Let's see if we can finish this off without going back downstairs. These need to make their way over to here. Just make sure I get to keep that cursor in that square and bring it all the way to there. That might be enough. Let's see. I actually probably want it to be one more. So the signal, we don't want a signal right there. So we're going to wrap the redstone signal part around that way. And then we need to grab it right there. So we do need one more panel. I'm just going to use stone right now for the purpose of finishing this. And then we can grab that with the red alloy wire. Take it out, just make it symmetrical with that. Let's see, we need our repeater to go right there. Set it 3 from the end, right there. and then that's where our timer is going to go. So let's just get a signal to it so it doesn't turn on immediately, and we can do it by choice. Oh yeah, we need one more spot right here too. So turn that on. Lay down the timer. Got an empty hand right here. We'll take it down to 4 in a minute. And then the very last bit to make this work is we need to get power to these guys. We got it right there. So we bring that down. That one's got power, which probably would be good enough. But we might as well take it to that guy too. And then the last part is making sure that all that jacketed wire stays on. So at the bare minimum, we'd need that. Might as well put that there for symmetry. And we're going to need to grab that and that. Ooh, I'm at 3% too. Let me give myself a place to stand real quick. Turn the engine off. And let me see. That one is grabbed by that one. That one's by that one. This one needs one more. Either it could be there or there. But I think for now that's good. Let's get up and turn this thing on. So we just put in this one. Let's see if we can go down. Put a frame of reference and see what happens. Woohoo! We're going down. Dive, dive. Okay, so we have achieved all 4 directions, or excuse me, all 6 directions. We can go negative or positive, X or Z, and we can go negative, positive, Y. So that bottom can get carved off and tidied up. But we have our airship. Very, very, very good. And just at the moment when I'm out of power. So I hope this was fun for you all. I think this is really fun. I know this is really fun for me and Nilo Rio. He was here watching me do the whole thing. And he's going to be on next time helping decorate it. And then we got to equip it for a long voyage to a new world. So certainly not going to put everything on it, but we'll put, ways to get everything on it that we need, and ways back and forth to here and there, and send it off into the unknown. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Monkeypuzzle, and I'm signing off on our new airship that's still going down. Let's see, which way do we want to go now? Let's go back up, and let's go that way. So that way would be over here. Here we go. Woo, it's a bumpy ride, but it works. Yeah. Okay. See you later, folks. Bye-bye.